Most kitchen drawing mistakes don't actually show up in the plan, they show up in the section. And if you're an interior designer or architect, chances are you're probably making at least one of them. In this video, I'll walk you through 5 common mistakes when creating kitchen sections and elevations, and how to fix them so your drawings are clearer, faster to produce, and easier for both clients and contractors to understand. Kitchen plans might look perfect from above, but sections and elevations are actually where the real design gets tested. This is where you validate ergonomics, appliance clearances, cabinet alignment, and how the kitchen actually works in real life. In this tutorial, we'll walk through 5 common mistakes that designers make when creating their kitchen sections and elevations, and I'll show you some simple ways to fix them using Rayon, so your drawings stay accurate, consistent, and presentation ready. And if you want to follow along and try these techniques for yourself, you can try Rayon for free using the link below in the description. Let's get started with the first mistake. The first common mistake that I see when drawing kitchen sections is ignoring the vertical ergonomics. When designers focus on only the plan layout, they often miss those important vertical clearances, and this can lead to upper cabinets that are too low, range hoods that feel cramped, or appliances that simply just don't fit comfortably underneath the cabinets. And the solution is really simple. We just want to make sure that we validate our design in section view. So we're going to use the section to check our key height benchmarks like countertop height, backsplash height, upper cabinet clearance, hood height, and then we'll review these vertical relationships early on, and that's going to ensure that the appliances fit properly, the cabinets are comfortable to use, the kitchen works ergonomically for the person using the space. So let's take a look at our drawing here. We'll go into our model canvas over here, and you can see that we've got our kitchen in plan version and floor plan, kind of a work in progress. And then we've also got a straight on elevation as well as some section cuts through the cabinetry. So let's take a look at how not utilizing your sections for these vertical clearances could impact your design. So if we're just looking straight up at this floor plan, this is not telling us a whole lot. Obviously we can see that it's still a work in progress. We need to get a refrigerator in here to fill this slot. And while we have some dimensions, it's still very uncertain what this looks like from an elevation view. So that's kind of where this comes in handy here in Rayon, where you can kind of stack these drawings so they relate to each other. So here I've got my plan, and then this is kind of like a head-on view, and we can see how these relate to each other. They actually like align with each other. And then you pop over here, and again, these sections align with the elevation. So if we go into our floor plan here, we can see our overall dimension. We've got 410 centimeters. Going down here to our interior elevation, if we do throw a dimension on there from corner to corner, that should match up. So 4.1 meters, and then we'll drop that dimension right there. So obviously we know that that matches up with the floor plan, but then also super helpful in elevation, you can dimension over here as well. So we can get like our overall dimension here, our vertical dimension, and that kind of starts telling the story a little bit more about how this is actually going to look in real life. And then you can use all these dimensions, of course, as well to relate over here to your section cuts, which are going to be a little bit more detailed look inside the cabinetry, a little bit more of like, how do you construct this type of thing. Now, it is important to note that standard dimensions are going to vary by kitchen type and even by like whichever country you're in. But there are benchmarks and best practices to follow, and it's just always a good idea to consult with the kitchen company or carpenter or whoever you're working with to validate your numbers. Now, while we're kind of in here, we can touch on issue number 2, which is misaligning cabinetry and appliance dimensions across drawings. And that's kind of where it's nice to just kind of have this working canvas where we can have all of our dimensions, all of our drawings kind of relating to each other, because cabinetry and appliance heights can easily become super inconsistent between your plans, your sections, and your elevations. A cabinet that aligns perfectly in the plan might suddenly appear higher or lower in the elevation, which obviously creates confusion and potential construction errors down the line. The simple solution here is to work with a clear building grid and synchronized views. By anchoring your design to a grid and coordinating your drawings across views, you ensure that cabinetry, appliances, and key reference lines stay perfectly aligned throughout the entire set of drawings. So in order to do that, we're just going to create a layer in here and basically make ourselves a grid. Obviously, I already have the plan and the section drawn, but you can use this as you are drawing as well, and it makes it even easier. So we'll just go over here to our layers and click the plus button. And I'm just gonna say new layer. We'll call it guidelines. And then we'll make sure that we're on the layer to start placing our guidelines. Now, all you need to do is down here under shapes, click guideline. I like to click this little loop button right here because what that allows me to do is just click multiple guidelines at once. You can also set them to horizontal or vertical or diagonal or free. So let's do a couple of vertical ones first to kind of line up our plan with our elevation. Again, you can see how this would be helpful when you're actually drawing because, you know, say you're drawing in plan and then you want to start your elevation. It's really simple to just kind of start clicking. So see, I just click, and this is where the loop comes in handy because I'm just clicking on important corners, I guess, or lines. So like I know that I want to make sure that this refrigerator area is aligned with my elevation down here. Maybe you want to make sure that your sink is aligned. We've got some sink lines going too. And then of course, any other thing that you might want to line up. So there's our grids right there. You can also change the color of those. So let's see here. We'll change those to maybe red so we can see them a little bit better. And we could make these a little bit thicker. Okay, so I think that is helpful already. I can see how this plan is starting to relate to my elevation, but then now let's help our elevation relate to our section cuts. So again, we want to just go grab that guideline right here. I'm going to change it to horizontal. I'm going to keep it on loop, and I'm just going to again place it on the important lines. So my top line, I'm going to do bottom of cabinetry, top of countertop. Let's do bottom of countertop, and then ground level. So now we hit done, and we've got all of these guidelines now relating to our sections. And again, even if you just pretend that these sections aren't here, that obviously helps you draw the sections in the long run because you have these easy guidelines to just literally guide you to drawing at the correct heights. And if we want to go ahead and make these lines red as well, we can actually just select the lines that we just drew and grab our little pick style eyedropper and eyedrop the last ones that we did. And now those are red as well. So now we have all these guidelines just on this guideline layer over here. If you want to be able to toggle those on and off visibility wise, just make sure that's not your current layer. So set a different layer to your current layer, and then you can just click the eyeball on and off. So those obviously help you kind of keep everything in line. Now, if we wanted to even copy and paste this floor plan over here and maybe turn it to make sure that we have that aligned with our sections down here, you can do that as well. So if I just kind of line these up, and again, we can get another guideline out here. So we can kind of do that and turn our guidelines back on, and then make this our current layer, guidelines, and maybe throw in a couple vertical here. So we could do a vertical line there, and then maybe like at the end of the countertop. And hit done. And again, if you want to match those to the red, that's great too. But you can see that those help us kind of stay aligned here in our section as well. This ultimately just kind of helps us validate that the different drawings that we have in here are the correct size, correct depth, correct scale, and ultimately just keeps everything on track. Now, another common mistake, which is our mistake number 3, using different CAD blocks for the same element across drawings. And this is truly one of my favorite parts about Rayon. It makes this part so easy, but designers do often grab blocks from different sources online, and it's surprisingly hard to find matching blocks for plan, elevation, and section views of the same cabinet, appliance, whatever it is, furniture, any of that kind of stuff. And as a result, the element might actually look one way in the plan and then slightly different in the front or the side view. The alternative is drawing each view manually, which quickly becomes very time consuming and completely unnecessary, especially when you need multiple appliances and cabinetry elements. So our solution here, our easy solution, our easy button, is to work with a consistent block library. So using Rayon's block library is going to give you ready-to-use blocks that already include coordinated plan, elevation, and section views, helping you maintain consistent, accurate drawings without spending hours searching or redrawing the same elements. So I can go ahead and show you Rayon's block library over here. So right underneath layers where we just were, we'll go to blocks, make sure that we're in libraries here, and we're going to go search for a refrigerator block. So we can find a refrigerator block that works in plan as well as elevation. And again, Rayon makes this super easy because each one of their blocks has 3 different views. So if I click here under libraries, you'll see this is just kind of like the categorized version of the block library. There are so many good options in here. Tons of basic blocks as well as parametric blocks. And then also we have the opportunity to generate blocks with the AI panel. So right in here, we're just gonna search for refrigerator and we're gonna click on blocks. So it searches the blocks and we'll just pick any of these that we desire. So I'm gonna click on this one right here. I'll hit open. You can see when I click open, it has a top view, a front view, and a side view. And these are all to scale. So that makes it easier on me. So I can just drag and drop my plan view refrigerator and just drop that into my little fridge opening here. And then additionally, I've already got elevation view over here and I can just drag and drop that right into my opening and elevation. And then if we had a section cut through that as well, we could easily just drag and drop this section cut of the refrigerator and use that in the section as well. So it makes it just super easy. You don't have to go search for a bunch of things. You don't have to try to manually draw anything. The block library is truly amazing and you can almost certainly find what you're looking for in there. Now you can of course also kind of develop your own custom block library. If there are a lot of different blocks that you tend to use on the same projects, there is loads of more information on our YouTube channel if you want to learn how to do that. Moving on to common mistake number 4, which is presenting raw technical drawings to clients. This is very sad when I see this happening because there are so many easy ways to kind of spruce up your drawings to make them a little bit more understandable to clients. And, you know, while these drawings are useful for documentation, they are difficult for just the average client to read and understand, which often kind of makes the presentation feel a little bit more unfinished or maybe even just too technical. And the solution here is to just use some styles to spruce these up a little bit. So if we go over here to our canvases, we'll go to our original DWG import here, which this is just basic line work that was imported from CAD. While this might be helpful to a contractor, a client might look at this and be like, what am I looking at? So you can see the difference between, presenting something like this, which is very simple, black, white drawing, and presenting something like this, which has a little bit more color and depth and materiality. It's a little bit more understandable to a client. So there's an easy way to kind of spruce these up, and that's just by adding styles in here. So I won't go too far into this, but just to show you how you can add styles, the first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to add in like a backsplash here. So first thing I do is go down to my shapes and I'm going to grab a rectangle. You could also use the zone tool. There's a couple different ways to do this, but I'm basically just going to draw a rectangle over the section that I want to stylize. Obviously you can see that it's black, which is not helpful. But if we just go over here to our shapes and styles, we can add in ourselves a new style. So I'm just going to click here. Right now it's solid black, but if you kind of click between these, you can see that there are a lot of different options for ways to stylize this rectangle that we just drew. So you've got your solids, you've got your gradients, you've got texture, which if you click here, you can see that there are already some pre-built nice little images for us to use. There's also hatch patterns, which there are a ton of those, which are very helpful, especially, these are a little bit more simple, but still adding in a little bit of detail, I think really helps kind of sell the story. You can also easily transform these. So if the scale is too large, you can see these look really large. You can go to edit and make them smaller, bigger. You can also rotate them. So, if you wanted them rotated. Another nice feature is that you can change the opacity. So if it's like a little too in your face, you can just kind of take the opacity down. And now you can see it's like a little bit of a lighter gray. Even make it a little bit lighter. But see how it just kind of like gives it a little bit more style, a little more something to kind of understand that, okay, that is the backsplash that I'm looking at. That's kind of just the easy way to add styles. You can also easily colorize these. So, if you wanted the color to be something more interesting or more representative of what you're actually using. I'm a big fan of just using the textures that they have in here. Sometimes most of the time I can find something that I like. You know, if you want to, let's see here, let's make those like a little bit smaller, 0.5. We're gonna take that rectangle and move it below the other layers so that way it's actually in the back. And now, you know, you kind of start adding a little bit of depth and texture to the view. And now, of course, if you wanted to also like fill these cabinets, you could do that as well. So, you know, maybe you know that you're using some kind of wood cabinet texture or some sort of like plastic laminate. We'll just detach the style that's on there right now. Easily, even just, you know, give it a little bit of a color just to kind of indicate the vibe you're going for. I think that really helps. So even just adding a little bit of color, I think helps if you don't want to go full on material texture look. It's super easy to do and completely worth it in my opinion. Now, those were all the textures that I showed you that are kind of like already built into Rayon, but you can also import custom materials to better simulate the final look of the kitchen. Simply back in here, you can import your own image right here. So if there are specific materials that you want to load in, you can easily do that as well. And final mistake that I see is not leveraging AI in your design workflow and completely relying on manual workflows. Creating multiple variations, refining drawings, and preparing visuals for clients can take a lot of time when everything is done manually. So the solution is to just start integrating AI into your workflow. AI-powered tools can help you work faster, generate iterations, and extract more value from the drawings that you've already created, turning them into clear visuals that help clients better understand and experience the design. So the AI panel that I mentioned earlier is right here under AI chat. And you can use this for tons of different things. Like I said, you can generate CAD blocks from it. You can generate axonometrics from it. You can, you know, have it change certain things in an image. You can apply materials to different things. But I'd say that one of my favorite parts is that it can make a 3D axonometric of your drawing. So let's pop over to our original drawing right here. And all we need to do in the AI chat is to simply take a screenshot of whichever view we want it to look at. So I'm going to say add screenshot down here, take a screenshot of that guy. And then under tools, we're going to say create axonometry. And we don't even have to prompt it anything else. It's going to basically take that and interpret it and make a little 3D view for us. So let's just hit send and see what it does. All right, so here we have it. We can hit preview and see what it did. So it looks like it did a pretty good job. You know, it understood that the upper cabinets were blue. It's got the hatch pattern on the backsplash. It's got all of our appliances. So what we can do is we can just say insert image. And now we've got, you know, a little bit more of a representation of what this looks like in real life. You can see how we've gone from basically having this very simple plan to an elevation to now a 3D view that we didn't even have to 3D model. The cool thing is too that once you generate this image, you can go back to tools and you can actually stylize it. So if you want it to just look like a clay model, you can also have it use like a mood board and apply different materials and textures to the 3D axon. You can also make it realistic. So if we say over here, if we say stylize render, let's say use selected image because we're selecting the image. And then we've got stylize render. So we'll hit send there. We'll look at how a rendered view of this might look, and then I will show you my presentation. Okay, and here we have it. Let's hit preview. So it looks like it just kind of took our basic view and kind of just added some realistic, you know, a little bit of reflection on the materials and a little bit more like depth and shadow. So we can say insert image there. And now we have, you know, a 3D rendering of that, which is really cool. And let's take a look at how everything comes together in a presentation. So back into my interior design presentation canvas, this is kind of how everything came together. Now, the cool thing about this presentation sheet is that I can easily share this as a URL link, or you can just do traditional like PDF image download if that works better for you. But I think that the URL share is really nice because it just basically sends the client a link and then they can just kind of scroll through the presentation in just web page, and then you can always update it and then send them another link. So it makes the interaction a lot easier. But I think this came together really well. It's got, you know, our elevation, a little bit of the 3D axon, some sections, as well as our plan, and then a couple call outs for specific appliances and furniture. And it was as easy as that. The cool thing is that this was created end-to-end in Rayon, and if you want any more information on how to create presentations like that, you can visit our YouTube channel to learn more. So those are the 5 common kitchen section and elevation mistakes and how to fix them. Even if you just implement a few of these techniques, your drawings will become clearer, more consistent, and ultimately much easier for contractors and clients to understand. And if you want to speed up this entire workflow, from blocks to grids to styles to AI-powered visuals, you can try Rayon for free in the link below. Just click that link in the description to get started with Rayon today. And if you found this tutorial helpful, make sure that you like and subscribe for more interior design workflows and drawing tips. See you next time.